Well, I mean, they're obviously very gifted, very talented. They have the flexibility to kind of play different lineups, but certainly post defense is going to be critical. Rebounding the ball will be very, very important. Our ability to move our feet in around the basket and try to at least force tough contested shots and not give up angles or give up position or allow a lot of deep post catches. So I think our post up defense will be challenged most of the night.
Billy, they're a difficult scout only because, like Brett has said the last couple of weeks, he doesn't even know what he has with all the injuries and people coming and going. So does that make it a little bit more difficult to know what they are?
Well, I think it's hard just for probably both teams. It's probably the same thing with us. We had some injuries too in the preseason, and we had to play some different lineups, and you're still trying to find out a lot about your team. And I'm sure Brett feels the same way. They've had some injuries as well, and he's probably utilized the preseason to find for himself and his staff to find out more about their team, what they have, what combinations will work. And a lot of times in these preseason games, whether you have guys on minute restrictions or you don't want to play that guys that much, sometimes you don't get a real long look at some things you want to look at. So, again, it's the first game of a long regular season for everybody, and I think every game that goes by, everybody's going to find out more about their team.
You talked about playing to a certain identity. Where does physicality play in that for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with the physicality part is, can we play physical without fouling? That's the thing. I think, if you look at Philly in the preseason, they've done a great job shot distribution-wise. They don't take a lot of non-paint twos. They get to the rim because they can drive it and they can post it, and they do a good job at taking threes. And it starts with them in transition and them running the floor. But the physicality part is, yes, you want to be physical, but you don't want to be physical at the expense of getting in foul trouble and also putting teams in the free throw line.
What does it take, during the season, for everybody to kind of come together? I know you have a lot of new pieces here. I mean, how long do you think it'll take before?
Well, I mean, I think different games present different challenges, and what I mean by that, there may be some specific matchups with guys coming off our bench that are really good, and we want to play a guy a lot of minutes, and there may be some other matchups that maybe aren't great for another guy. I've just always been a big believer, because of the length of the season, to try to utilize the entire roster. Instead of just all of a sudden putting yourself in a box where you're going to play 8 guys and try to get through 82 games with 8 guys, and then you have someone that's been out for 2 months of the rotation, hasn't played at all, somebody gets hurt, and now you're trying to implement them in there. So we've got a lot as a coaching staff to find out about our team as well. We've got some new faces and new pieces that we've got to see how they progress, but I don't know if it ever ends. I think it's an ongoing process of your team evolving and playing together, and what you want to do week by week is to try to play better and better. Sometimes by playing different guys, you discover things that you didn't even think about maybe as being a possibility that end up maybe being a possibility for you. So in order to create some kind of discovery and uniqueness and some flexibility inside your team, sometimes I think you got to be willing to take some risks and play some guys in certain situations to find out what they can do. And we wanted to do some of that in the preseason, but 6 games, injuries, sometimes you don't get a chance to do a lot of that. So I think, in terms of everything clicking, I think that's, you're always moving and trying to stretch yourself to get into a position where you're playing closer to your full potential. And I think that's a long process that takes a long time to come to.